Welcome back, everybody. Today's video is going to be a fun and easy one. I kind of had a company unexpectedly send me a couple of free jumping spiders, so I had to put them in temporary enclosures until I could, of course, get my tarantula cribs enclosures in, the one that I want them permanently in. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's video, and in perfect timing, we are going to make them Halloween themed. So we are going to make some awesome Halloween themed jumping spider enclosures in today's video. I will show you guys absolutely everything I use. So if that sounds like something you're into, let's get started. Okay, so first up we have our foliage, and you guys have heard me say before, of course, I am a plant lover and I don't have fake plants anywhere in my house except for my enclosures. So in this little bucket right here, I just have kind of all of these smaller trimmings from all different fake plants and bushes that I've kind of used throughout all of my jumping spider enclosures so far. I just like to hold on to them. I've also got this really pretty gray and white set right here that I made a couple of Halloween enclosures already with. Then we've got this beautiful black velvet leaf foliage bush. I love this one. I think this one is the most Halloween, and specifically the spiders that I want to put in it I think are going to pop the most when they're sitting on top of these black velvety leaves. So I'm most excited for these ones for sure. I think it's going to go really well with that Halloween vibe. Love that one. We're definitely going to use this classic oil slick, which again, you guys have seen if you have seen any of my other jumping spider enclosure videos so far. It's just this basic black plant with oil slick leaves. Then we've got this really pretty basic dark green vine plant, which was originally just a large piece of garland from Michael's. Then we have this sage green. I don't think I'm going to use this one at all. It is just a little bit too light, but just in case I have it pulled out. Then we've got a nice fresh box of frog moss. This thing is packed to the brim, so we will have plenty. Next up, we've got plenty of cork, regular pieces of cork rounds, all different sizes, because I feel like you can never have enough cork. The most important thing is the substrate. So I've got a big bag of substrate right here. This is 10 quarts of Reptisoil. I just use regular Reptisoil. Again, I'm not doing anything too fancy because these aren't bioactive enclosures. Then I've just got some random pieces like these cute little brooms from Amazon. I'll link those down below. Then I've got these adorable little brown glass bottles, which again, you guys have seen before if you watch my other spider content. They're just these little brown glass bottles that have like spider webs or trimmed spider hairs, wool of bat, different labels on these little glass bottles that I just picked up from the dollar store. Then of course we've got our enclosures, which I believe are the Treehouse Switch 2. I got the canopy top and the removable gray glitter background, which I absolutely love. I wanted these ones to still match all of my coffin enclosures, so I feel like the gray glitter background is really going to help do that. And then the most exciting part for me is all of the ledges and hides. Of course, I went to Spider Enchantments and got all sorts of fun stuff to decorate both of these enclosures with. Okay, so let's just quickly go through all of this Spider Enchantment stuff. Again, this person does not know I do this. I pay for this with my own money. And of course, the very first thing I pull out is a freebie, which was that little Rip Buzz the Fly headstone. Then of course we have all of our care instructions for the magnets, for the actual 3D printed items. We've got warnings for the magnets as well, just a bunch of safety information, which I love that she sends. Then she individually wraps everything in these really cute bags. So of course I went ahead and got a bunch of Halloween pumpkins in a couple different designs that she offers, and I got them in both black and orange. I only got a few things in orange because I didn't know, obviously, you guys know me, if I was going to be able to actually commit to the orange. So I did get more things in black and just a few in orange, but like I said, I got quite a few of these pumpkins in a couple different sizes and a couple different variations. So a couple with the faces and a couple without. So next up, I ordered a few of these ladders. I love her 3D printed ladders. And once again, she threw in a freebie for me. She threw in this little orange ladder, and I'm so glad she did because I end up using it. You guys will see in a second. Then of course, in this last little package here, I've got a whole bunch of her triple moon ledges and hides. She's got a couple different kinds now, which you could kind of use as both. If you put them sideways, you could use as little feeders, or you can use them as hides or ledges, whatever you want. So here are all the pieces I got from Spider Enchantments. Let's make some Halloween inspired enclosures. Okay, so first thing we got to do is pop these enclosures out of our boxes here. And let me tell you, it is so satisfying opening up a brand new clean enclosure and I'm super excited to have the removable backing on these ones. I do want to switch them out different colors for different holidays, but we are on Halloween today, so first thing I'm doing, of course, is throwing quite a bit of Reptisoil in the base of this enclosure. Again, these jumping spiders do not technically need Reptisoil, but I personally like to use it because it gives them a nice soft landing on the bottom and it makes it feel natural. Like I said before, I kind of just like to kind of recreate a little slice of outside in these little enclosures. So the very first thing I'm going to do is put a nice big piece of cork bark inside. That's kind of always where I start. And then from there on, everything else is kind of just the fun part. Really getting to decorate and just making sure along the way that I'm putting in each of those elements that I really look for in all of my enclosures. So I want to make sure that they have plenty of foliage to climb on, to jump on. I want to make sure that they have plenty of places to hide. Like you see me throw this branch in this back corner over here because I know they like to web and hammock in the top corners of their enclosures. So I'm going to do my best to kind of set up an easy way for them to do so. So I'm going to put a bunch of foliage, a bunch of branches, all kind of close to the upper corners and points of these enclosures to make it easier for them to hammock, and so they feel more secure, more hidden inside those areas. But again, I also want to keep some spots open so they have plenty of room to kind of jump around and explore. But most important thing is just safety. So I'm making sure that they have plenty of places to hide, to jump, but if they do take a tumble, I want them to have a soft landing. Again, that's why I use Reptisoil and don't use something like the sheeted moss or do like hardwood floors like some of these really cool but crazy looking diorama style pieces that I see some people make. So I'm just packing in a whole bunch of those branches, doing a bunch of moss, and then just kind of starting to play around with all of the different hides and ledges. At this point, I wasn't sure which enclosure I was going to want to make with all of the orange pieces, or if I was going to want to put a couple of the orange in one and a couple in the other. But in the end, I decided to kind of keep one dark theme and one very classic Halloween theme. So this one I'm going to keep very dark. I'm using that dark green foliage, those black branches. I'm going to use all of the black pumpkins, that little black ladder, and of course some of our triple moon hides or ledges. So yeah, just kind of throwing stuff in, taking stuff out, whatever I don't like, kind of moving things around, just trying to keep it even. At this point, I'm flipping the pumpkins to the side, upside down, upside right to see what I like best, switching out the type of pumpkins. So yeah, I'm really just playing around and I just keep going until I like what I see. So I'm getting close to almost done with this enclosure, but I don't want to kind of give away the full final reveal, so I'm going to stop it here and we will move on to the next one. Okay, so essentially the same thing here, guys. We are starting with a nice, fresh, clean enclosure straight out of the box. First thing we're doing is throwing in that Reptisoil, and once again, I'm going to put a nice big piece of cork bark in. The reason I like to do that is because I like to put a big of piece that will kind of comfortably fit inside these enclosures, just to kind of make a bridge from the Reptisoil up to the top corners. Like I was talking about earlier, I know they like to kind of hammock in all of the top corners and edges of their enclosures. So I'm kind of simultaneously making that bridge from the Reptisoil up to one of the corners, as well as kind of recreating that little slice of outside that I was talking about earlier. So I'm doing the same thing here, but this time, like I said, I'm keeping it to those more classic Halloween colors. So I'm doing the black velvet leaves, all of the orange pieces. I want to do orange, black, and white. I don't think I want really much green in here at all. We've already got the brown Reptisoil, the cork bark, so I think keeping it orange, black, and white is going to look the best, as well as look the coolest with the spider that's going to go inside this enclosure as well. So I'm doing the same thing, just kind of packing everything up to the corners, or at least putting branches and hides that will lead them up to the corner and be able to help them hammock in those areas easier, and just filling it and moving things around until I figure out what I like once again. So I'm just kind of going back and forth, putting things in, taking things out, and putting the most important things in there, like that cork bark and the frog moss, which is what helps with kind of humidity. And that's kind of what I go in and mist every few days. So I'll mist that frog moss as well as one of the walls of the enclosure. So I'm just going to fill this up, and same thing, I will show you guys the finished piece as soon as we rehouse our spiders inside them.